Welcome everyone to another made-for-TV horror movie review by yours truly. And no, I'm not seeking them out on purpose, I promise. This one was made all the way back in 1970, before the current formula for haunted house movies had firmly been established. So let's see how this one holds up today. I am Torstein from CinemaTerror, and this is The House That Would Not Die. A lovely lady named Ruth and her niece Sarah are happily moving into a new big house out in the nice quiet Pennsylvania countryside. Within a minute of moving in, they are instantly greeted and welcomed by the newest neighbor Pat. They are invited over to him for a dinner later the very same evening, so they can get a proper welcome by the local community. At the party, Sarah gets introduced to a young student named Stan, and everything seems to go great until Pat's sister invites herself and her psychic friend Sylvia over to the new home to have a jolly old time by doing a seance. Before the seance takes place, small, strange occurrences seem to happen at their new home. Doors open and close by themselves, and Ruth has a creepy dream about Sarah calling out for help. But it is first when the seance takes place that things really escalate. And there does seem to be an evil presence in the house with the ability to possess those inside of it, and in order to save themselves and get rid of this evil, Ruth, Sarah, and their new friends will have to uncover the secret history that lies deep within the walls of this house. The House That Would Not Die was an Aaron Spelling produced TV movie that was sort of stuck in the middle of the haunted house genre. Before this and the later ghost movies of the 70s, like the Amityville Horror, haunted house movies were often gothic tales or people gathering at a supposedly haunted place for some special reason, like the House on the Haunted Hill or The Haunting. And yes, I do know that there were exceptions to this, like the 1944 film The Uninvited. But as far as I know, that one didn't start a trend, even though it is highly praised and by all means influential. It was this stuck-in-the-middle aspect of The House That Would Not Die that made me curious and want to check it out. Obviously, my expectation for this made-for-TV movie from 1970 to provide any scares or even a bit of creepy atmosphere was quite low. The horror elements are mostly done with having people possessed by ghosts, doors opening and closing, and a decent wind machine. They also tried some optical effects, which weren't all that bad, but none of this will do much to invoke fright from the viewer. What however might make this enjoyable is rather the characters and the ghost story itself.
Amy, help! Amy, please help! Please help, Amy!
How?
Help.
How can we help you?
To return to your father?
No!
The movie was based on a novel called Amy, Come Home by Barbara Louise Mertz, under her pseudonym Barbara Michaels. She was best known for writing mystery novels, and her work here was adapted to television by fellow novelist Harry Farrell, who himself has had his work adapted to the movie format, with the most famous being the psychological horror Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. A big catch for this film was the 4 times Academy Award nominee Barbara Stanwyck, who plays Ruth. I am not all that familiar with her work, but it is easy to see why she was a beloved figure during the golden age of Hollywood. She made Ruth come off as a charming lady, and unlike many other genre movies like this, I felt like Ruth was portrayed as an intelligent woman, making smart decisions, and overall Stanwyck was just a great choice for this role and a delight to watch. She is not the only noteworthy actress in this film, as Sarah is played by the great Kitty Winn. Horror fans might know her best as the role of Sharon in The Exorcist and its first sequel, but I also recently saw her excellent performance in Panic in Needle Park, which came out a year after this movie and also starred a young Al Pacino. Winn has an innocent-like vulnerability to her, and she even does well when her character Sarah is under possession by the evil entity in the house.
An old doorway that's boarded over. We're gonna find some tools.
Their 2 companions are played by Richard Egan as Pat and Michael Anderson Jr. as Stan. Pat quickly takes a liking to Ruth, understandably so, and he also gets put under the spell of the supernatural during the film. Egan has a long and impressive career behind him, but I didn't find much enjoyment in watching him in this one. Anderson Jr. has a bit more energy to him, which to be fair also makes sense as he plays a young student. I should give some praise for our two on-screen lads here, as they both seem to do whatever they can to help out their new female love interest. But I would have liked to see a bit more interaction between Ruth and Sarah though, perhaps with a longer opening of the film instead of introducing us to the two male counterparts right away. But I'm also gonna guess that there was simply no time, as this was an ABC movie of the week and most likely had to have a short running time, which it does at only 74 minutes. The same can be said about the ending, as the climax is basically over within a minute or two, but since it was so predictable, I cannot say that I wanted that part to be expanded much more anyway. The House That Would Not Die debuted on ABC during the Halloween season of 1970. Would actually be shown at least once on Norwegian television during 1973. It's very much a product of its time and might not have much to offer to the modern horror audience, but for those out there that have an extra interest in haunted house movies, like myself, then I think this one is worth checking out, if for nothing else than to see the progression of the subgenre, and of course also to see the lovely and talented Barbara Stanwyck and Kitty Winn. For those interested, I do have to mention that Kino Lorber did a release of Blu-ray of this film back in 2019. I'm not going to give this a good score, as I cannot honestly say that this is a good movie, but I'm still happy that I watched it, and felt it did have some interesting merits that made it worth doing a video about. The House That Would Not Die gets a low score of 2 out of 5. Have you seen this one? What are your thoughts on it? And do you know of any other haunted house movies of this era that more people should check out? Let me and others know in the comment section below. If you cannot get enough of haunted house stuff, and for some reason are also a fan of the Amityville horror series, then I recommend that you take a peek at my rankings and review video on all of the so-called official Amityville movies. Leave a like, subscribe and all of that good stuff, and I will see you again for more horror movie reviews here on CinemaTerror. Thank you for watching.